a big focus of this matchup is going to come down to the two operators from both teams. Cirque up against Shazam, because Cirque had a subpar performance, as Dust pointed out earlier on. Shazam as well, on this map in particular, had quite a few rounds on a road that could have helped solidify their victory.
He got two AWP kills yesterday, which obviously he did have some impact with the rifle and didn't always have the AWP in his hand, but even still, like, you want your AWP to get more than 2 kills, so, and he's definitely going to need to today. Like, they were up against what is a relatively new Cloud9 side as well, whereas EG are the one established roster that pretty much that we've seen all the way through the Pro League so far. Like, every other team has had a roster change or some sort of move. Sure, they moved organizations, but they did it all together, so not quite the same. Mid control, in fact, connector control already going to be gathered up by the T side. They managed to get quite far forward, considering that there is a man currently within the window, and this is interesting. So they're going to have a fair amount to do, and 2 quick kills already coming up for Complexity. A good start within this pistol round. They are still going to be pushing into the more stacked of the 2 sites. A couple of players here. Ethan unable to get the shot, and it seems like Tarek has met the same fate. Only Stan's going to get a kill, and well, at least he has a kit.
Glass half full kind of guy there, Tom.
Yeah.
At least he has a kit.
He gets an extra 5 seconds, you know?
Okay, well, we had 4, now 3 players left to find, and they're already rushing him down. So, 1 HP. Maybe just throw a decoy down and...
Wow. I'm the glass half.
And I'm the glass half empty guy. Well, they're going to keep pushing into him. They give him a lot of money, to be fair. The round will eventually be won by Complexity, just based off of the bomb, but still gain some Stanislav confidence going on for the side of Evil Geniuses. One thing that was really nice to see, by the way, yesterday, I think you and I talked about this, was the work between Blame F and Oboe. At least on Dust 2 was the map I was thinking of in particular, because they played so well together. They were, if I'm not mistaken, like Blame F was like 13-1 or 12-1 at some point that eventually did start to obviously lose some steam. But Evil Geniuses, like, I don't think most people out there can ever really bet against them in this matchup. Again, we don't really know too much what Complexity can do in terms of their lineup, obviously switching a couple players around and having their first victory on land just yesterday. But against a top 3 team in the world, well, you heard their ambitions. Their short-term goal, their long-term goal. Maybe they can make that long-term a lot quicker if they can beat EG here.
Well, yeah, that's sort of the interesting thing with this roster is that Blame F sort of left what was a team edging in onto that top 10 to join this one. So clearly feels like the project is worth it. Also, I'm sure there's some other benefits which may not be mentioned in videos, joining such a big organization.
Gym memberships, whatever.
Yeah,
you go to. I was wondering if that's in his contract.
That's what I was talking about, gym memberships.
Every hotel room he goes has to have, you know, protein powder or protein bars for him. Just get him, Freakazoid, and Cooper in the same room, and oh my gosh.
Well, Stanislav has managed to get himself that early pick. Using the FAMAS, they've invested into this round, and he's basically just spent all the extra money he managed to make off the back of the USP kills. Still a round where they've got to be careful. That was actually one of the rounds we saw EG win yesterday, was with pistols, like on Vertigo. Like, that was one of the rounds they managed to steal away, was just back of some crazy individual skill coming out from Ethan and Breezy. And they're going to be pushing into the stack here. Breezy unable to do anything. That's an important first pick into the side, but it's not done just yet. The trade's still leaving even personnel on either side. And actually, the push from behind, but Tarek runs out of bullets. That could cost them the round. Cirque and Ethan left. Ethan's managed to drop the bomb, and Shazam will at least find one more of the kills, but Ethan's still going. It takes Blame F in on the flank to actually close out the round, but even still, what was just some pistols doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Surprised to see Shazam actually peek that one when they knew Blame F was already flanking from behind them. He was, what, like 2 seconds, maybe even just 1 second after Shazam did fall? And considering they already lost 3 players, to lose another one, to lose another weapon, even though that was a Galil in at least that case, it's not the most ideal situation to be in, but luckily they will have a freebie round here, ideally. I don't want to say they have it guaranteed. But the MAC-10, the ump picked up for Rush, so they're obviously investing into the chance to make up a lot of money. And oh my god, Ethan! That's one hell of a shot coming in from Tollbooth.
Oh no, this is starting to get scary. Breezy has managed to get a kill, and Def's actually tagged already down. Even this alone is enough for EG to go into their first buy round with a lot of confidence and a big chance to actually break their opponent's economy. And an extra kill will mean that more rebuys have to come in than players actually saving their guns. And may even allow for one of the rifles to be distributed to that CT side. Still, plenty of time left.
Oh.
Trying to slow things down. Cirque unable to spot anything, and unfortunately they've gambled in the wrong direction. They've opted to stack the B side. Cirque's going to be caught out. And that'll be the realization. Now, normally you sort of just keep these USPs and just basically not give money over to the other side, but with the amount of damage already done, I'm perfectly fine with EG just trying to remove one of these weapons. Ethan shouldn't be able to get anything, but he does. A filthy shot again. Down to just 2. Tarek's actually found an AK, so has he. A chance for a big save, but they may even be able to win it. Tarek turns it into a 1 versus 2. Rush does at least have a Molotov. He could try to slow them on any sort of defusal, and considering they don't have a kit, they don't have much time as it is. Tarek shouldn't be able to do much here, but he is focused in on the angle, looks for the headshot, can't quite find it, and Ethan, he's just sticking the 10-second defusal. He doesn't have a choice, just waiting, ends up being peaked, and Rush will save them, but dear Lord, was that a costly round, considering there's only, what, sub $2,000 invested?
And that's why I don't say that was a guaranteed round.
Because if you had, they would have won.
Of course, of course. Which I probably should have then because I voted for EG to win, so maybe I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here. But either way, Evil Jesus have been able to do so much damage in back-to-back rounds. And look what Complexity have. Luckily, they do have the they have a Galil. I know that's your favorite weapon. And Shazam on the op. But again, that's the man I want to see have a decent start here for Complexity. I think they're going to need it as well. If Cirque starts to hit shots or if Ethan just pushes up and is getting confident like this, Complexity might start to struggle. The 3-0 scoreline does say they're currently winning, but for who knows how long.
Yeah, Ethan's come to play today, and that's a scary prospect in itself. We saw some quieter performances from him and from the rest of the team yesterday. It was actually Stan a lot of the time who was leading the way in frags, did great entry fragging on the T side of Inferno as well. Cirque was another one who, as we mentioned already, didn't really show up. So with Ethan just getting off to a flying start, does leave some doubt of how Complexity are going to fare today. Again, still plenty of time left, and we're going to see Def just retrieve the AWP purely based off only having 2 HP remaining. At least give him some viability to win one of these duels. But for now, just trying to find some sort of pick, hoping someone gives them an angle, but you can already see the amount of map control that's been gathered. The ramp already being pushed. I'm pretty sure there's a player towards the apartments as well. So there's so much information already gathered up by EG that there should be no way that Complexity get this round done.
Well, I think they should be able to get the bomb down, though, considering where Breezy's going to be holding from in CT spawn. The bomb has been able to make its way through. It's going to be on Def, though, as he's low on health. Stanislaw going to go for the peek, and Stanislaw's actually going to go for not the planner. Gets the kill either way. Def's going to hit this shot. Unfortunately, he can't. Now it's all going to be on Blame F with an ump. 1 on 4. I don't know what he can really hope to accomplish here, but he's sure as hell going to try. I think Tarek has the idea of at least the direction he's going to be coming from, especially with that smoke being thrown down. Nowhere for Blame F to escape, and just gets shot completely through the smoke. And EG's going to get the first round on the board.
Yeah, and a relatively clean one of that. It's only Ethan going down, and I think he could have pretty much planned that that would happen with how aggressive he was at the beginning of the round. But yeah, just so much map control gathered from EG. Like, to have a player already deep into ramp and deep in apps, like, you just gained so much information that it was very easy for them to just close out the latter stages of the round.
Or one might say it was very breezy.
Sure.
I mean, you would probably say that.
I don't know.
Too easy?
It's not that much of a pun.
Well, Ethan was highlighted at the start of the show for this matchup, and we're seeing why. 2 rounds, was able to pull off double kills in a row. And Tarek has a spot the first. Gets the tag on Obo, just trying to back away to stay alive. Just have some support, though, coming in from Breezy. And Complexity is immediately going to back away. They have the pistols invested. They have the bomb over towards B. I was maybe hoping for a distraction towards one of the sides before they went for the engagement. where they went for the push. But EG are more than happy to just play passive and let Complexity just kind of walk into their sights.
Yeah, this is one of those rounds where they know that the economy is going to be on the brink no matter what, even if they had a purchase into this round. So they don't want to allow any SMGs or anything like that to get nice and close. So more passive angles being held. Still fairly aggressive in the connector from Ethan, but I'm okay with that, with how he's been playing so far.
We saw Breezy, or not Breezy, sorry, BlameF do this yesterday. Got boosted in through window and flanked around behind in towards B. They've boosted him again, but unfortunately he has been spotted out. Ethan holding connector does take down Def, and you can see over towards Catwalk. Breezy's going to be there to pretty much solidify the hold in towards middle, and yeah, Complexity, just Oboe left alive, gonna get the dink, but dink won't get him a kill, and EG is going to truck on for 2. But more importantly, these 2 rounds they've been winning have been really clean.
Yeah, 9 out of 10, not bad. And that is exactly what you want to see happening at the beginning of their CT side, especially because what we've seen from them recently, they do quite like to run this double up setup with Tarek having the secondary, and that was one of the prominent factors that worked for them on Inferno as well, just giving him that AWP and being able to just section off certain portions of the map. And that's something that Complexity are really going to have to battle against, like stopping this double up setup, just dominating. And speaking of dominating, look at all the utility that's been thrown in. Breezy now starts things off. Stan somewhat sectioned off in middle, and he's going to be caught. And that trade is not too bad, all in all, for the T side. It started pretty slow, but to end off with 2 players down on each side is not too bad. The only problem is Shazam being tagged a little bit. Cirque misses the timing as well. That's going to allow so much space for BlameF. We sort of questioned how he managed to sneak past players yesterday. He's done it once again. He's got to be careful walking it backwards here, but hits the instant headshot. And while I speak of those double ups, that's all that remains. Cirque finally gets himself onto the scoreboard. But now they're going to go rotating. And the CT side have actually got this wrong. They've gone peeking into the A side, probably the easier of the 2 to try and hold with AWPs. Now, the bomb going to be planted, and they are going to have to switch out at least one of these orbs. Cirque going to retrieve an M4. Tarek, yeah, to actually find one, and the smoke going down is going to make things fairly difficult for Cirque. He does have a belt of utility, an HE, smoke, Molotov, but it's where he's actually going to be able to put it, and I think he's fairly reliant at this point on Tarek finding a pick with his AWP. There's no way he makes it out of the window. Oboe is ready and set to catch him off, and that's going to leave Cirque just trying to retrieve, and it looks like Oboe's even trying to hunt him down with the AWP. Hits him through the wall as well. Nice attempt, but it's looking like Cirque will be able to get away, and this is where those clean rounds actually become crucial for EG, because they will have plenty of money to buy.
Very big round for them. Basically went off the back of BlameF, just pushing in towards connector, getting into jungle, getting that first kill. The smoke he threw down towards kitchen as well is kind of like a, yeah, we're not going towards B smoke. Like, why would you smoke that spot off if you were actually going towards B, because then you can't push through kitchen to help support your team. So a little bit of mind game coming through, and works wonders for him. By the way, I did love the push out of EG in middle. Big fan. Obviously, it didn't work out too well for him since they lost the round, but you can see they're not really trying to give respect to Complexity, because they've had Ethan just doing his own thing. He's been able to get so many kills in great positions. And I love the fact that they're challenging Complexity early on. To not let them feel comfortable, let them feel safe and get some rounds built up. Yeah, they're currently up by 2, but I would imagine it won't be like that for much longer. And look at Stanislaw currently, 10 kills. And Cirque, if we compare both the operas, only on 1 at the moment. And 13 ADR. He's having a rough match, carrying over from yesterday. We're just hoping to see him start to step up today for Evil Genius' side. Again, a victory here guarantees you a minimum of the 2nd group stage.
Yeah, for either side. Both teams.
It's
almost like a winner's match in a sense. It's not the way that we're running the groups, it's just the way that things have actually worked out. Is this is a winner's match, and the next one is, well, the losers of yesterday. So it's going to make things interesting for the group overall, as either of these teams will be going 2-0. Both winning 2-1 as well, so they're almost in identical situations. Cirque ready on the ult. This is a very fast flank catching from Tarek.
Oh,
well, he is going to be able to get the pick, and they're trying to retreat. The T's are trying to run away. The problem is, they should know that Tarek's here, and, well, he's not going to win that duel, but he's done enough damage. Def is left alone, probably wondering where his teammates went. And while there's going to be a very quick rotation available, here for Ethan. As long as he gets one, it really doesn't matter. And in fact, he's going to be smart with it, but Shazam comes bouncing around the corner to clear him out. He's given them a chance in this round. Cirque has also been spotted, but actually Shazam did hit the shot. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, and Stan is there to close out that round. But still a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be, considering how dominant they were. But a couple of nice shots out from Shazam early in this match. I think that's a much better sign.
I think that was the first with the AWP, though.
Yeah.
So he's halfway to his performance.
Was that
Mirage.
the first time he had the AWP, though?
That is also true. So he's 1 for 1.
1.5. Or if anything, it's like 1 7/8, something like that.
How do you get 7/8 of a kill?
Yeah?
I mean, I guess you could calculate it if you take the health into account, but...
I think it was probably more like 8/10 then. Which would actually be 4/5 if we're doing this properly. I know you enjoy talking about fractions, Jason. That's why I decided to bring it up.
Fractions were my most hated topic when it came to
Really?
math.
More than algebra?
Yep.
Ugh. No, I hate algebra. In any form. It's just a waste of time.
Are you telling me you've never used algebra in your day-to-day life? Are you saying that you wasted that many years in high school or whatever they call it?
Unless it's like chips plus me equals happiness, and that could be like A plus B equals C.
Yeah, those are the best equations.
Then sure, that might be how I've used algebra to work out some algorithms in my life. But like, especially if I replace those things with letters, then people can't judge me. Because they don't know.
If you were to take happiness and represent it with a letter, what letter would it be? And why would it not be H?
It's not H. It'd probably be T, because that is my first initial. And I am a simple-minded person.
Well, it looks like we might be having a tech pause here, I'm guessing. Fix a couple of issues. I know if you're watching the EU Pro League earlier on, people at home, I know Harry and Hugo were talking about cooking. And I think it was Hugo talking about, actually no, it was Harry, I think, talking about, cereal and adding milk, that's cooking, right? I don't know if you consider that cooking. Technically, I think he's right.
Dear Lord. No.
But my question to you is, Tom, do you pour the milk in first or the cereal in first?
Anybody who puts the milk in first is a monster. And should be locked up.
Why?
Because it's just weird. Like, it's just weird. Why would you want your cereal, like, floating for a bit?
But it's going to be floating anyways. Depends how much cereal you put in.
I use a lot. I have a lot of cereal. No, I don't know why you're challenging me on that, unless you are one of the monsters who put milk
I'm not
in
one of the
first.
monsters. I just don't judge people so hastily.
I do.
You know, it still gets in your mouth the same way. So what's the difference?
I don't know. They probably do something weird with it. Like use a knife and like flick it up. I don't know.
What?
Those people are
they
weird.
use chopsticks to eat their cereal, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, now back into the game. Obviously, issues hopefully being resolved. As Complexity still have the lead, though. Evil Geniuses, we compare the rounds that the teams have won, have looked much cleaner, much better. I do have some good weaponry on the side of EG, and Complexity just going with the pistols and the armor, forcing into this round. They haven't looked terrible. And the funny thing is about this matchup, I feel like there's so many like head-to-heads we could look at. Blame F up against Stanislav. We could look at Cirque up against Shazam. We can even look at the moment with pretty much Ethan up against Oboe in terms of how this match has been going, or even Breezy on that one. And I think this is a good true test for Complexity. Actually, no, I say that and I don't even believe it myself, because EG did not look like the normal EG we've seen over the past few weeks.
Yeah, but even if EG aren't playing their best, it's still a test for any of the teams within this group. And like, especially it would be a big statement if anybody's actually able to beat them, because there's one thing like coming close, like United did yesterday, and there's one thing actually taking the series over the line. So that's one of the hardest things about beating some of these top teams. They're never out until they're out. I think Heroic learned that earlier in the day.
Yep.
Stan, though, ooh, that's a nice shot from Oboe. Now actually give them presence onto the site and should net them a bomb plant. Cirque actually missing. That's going to give Oboe a little bit of space. I always worry when I see an AWPer in this sort of scenario. Luckily, he does have support for Breezy. He's just going to walk in and kill absolutely everybody. Makes Cirque's job a little bit easier, and Blame, making things costly at least, almost gets rid of Breezy, but Cirque will be there to return the favor just moments later. So scoreline equalized, still 2 kills, a bomb plant. It's not bad, but you have to remember that was a full investment from the T side. That was them hoping to try and break back, not just trying to build cash. So their money going into the next round, still not going to be great. I imagine we'll just see a pistol or two, like maybe a few deagles again. And yeah, it should be EG taking the lead.
Some of these rounds, though, with how Complexity have been getting relatively close to actually completing the round and winning it, have been off a lot of these individual plays. Like Ovo walking in, Deagle headshot, Blame F as he pushed through jungle, straight into window, and then he smoked kitchen. That does worry me a little bit, but also it is nice to see that Complexity do have the potential to have just those individuals rise up and be able to help carry around through for them. Because we know sure as hell Evil Geniuses can do exactly that with basically every player on their team. Now pushing straight in towards B, just pistols and a little bit of utility to help assist their push in towards the site. And there we go. Ovo hits another shot. Not enough to get him in the site just yet, but Shazam's going to chime in, looking for another. They might need to get this kill to have a chance to get the bomb down, and they do get a third. They're making it costly, and Shazam's going to look for the plant, but will they expect the player flanking from behind? And can they make this even more effective? Can they potentially take this round, as unfortunately Shazam will fall, and Obo's left to himself? That was very anticlimactic again.
Yeah, even still, though, I think this is something that both teams are actually struggling with at the moment, is like these anti-eco rounds are just not clean. Like, at least when we saw the first couple of rounds come in for EG, I was going, okay, they're not going to make the same mistakes as Complexity. They'll make these rounds look fairly easy, build up a big bank of cash. But the last few have not been that way. Like, last round was a force buy with pistols that gave them, what, 2 kills and a bomb plant? That one was 3 kills with a bomb plant with even less. And those are the sort of rounds that need to be your money maker rounds, especially if you want to run a double orb setup, which they're not going to be doing at the moment.
And the funny thing is we were just praising Evil Genius in their ability to be able to get these rounds so cleanly. And now they're just seeming to struggle consistently. We had seen the double up once. I believe that was with Tarek and with Cirque, but that was quickly a round they lost. And Shazam was able to take their op into the next round, and now we see him back on it. See if he can hit these shots, as Cirque's already putting his dominance in on middle yet again. Blame F waiting for the push, but Stanislaw gets the kill onto him, and just like that, Evil Geniuses bounce back with a 2-man advantage.
Oh, the timing for Breezy is absolutely perfect, and while Rush and Shazam left in what is a nigh on impossible scenario. They got a couple of smokes at least. In the AWP. Hoping that someone gives them a frag. No, it has been fairly aggressive so far from EG, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some peak Shazam. That is the ultimate timing moment, and Rush is basically just holding for anybody to push, and, well, Stan will do that. They do have to be careful not to give too many frags away in this. Of course, EG looking like they want to just close this round nice and fast, but they hand away a second. They're giving ways back into this round. Rush with another, and eventually Ethan will trade, but again, a few moments there that start making the round look a little bit dicey. Of course, they do close it out, and money is not really an issue at this point for Evil Geniuses, but it's still like, when you're watching these rounds, you're like, okay, I get it. You want to just own them. You want to, like, put your dominance on the other team, but still, down to just what was a 1v2 in the end, it starts to get a little bit worrying.
It was still costly. It was still a lot of kills. With Evil Geniuses having a 5-on-3, I was surprised to see them lose out on so many players. So at least Complexity, even if they lose the round, they're still making it tough for Evil Geniuses to close it out and to get as cleanly as they were able to in the beginning of the first half. Obo with the Deagle, honestly, I would never count him out of a situation for what we've seen so far. He's been able to open up things with the dirty Deag. He's going to do it yet again. This time on Ethan has the back by to Blame F, but unfortunately the backup comes in the sense of taking the bolt for him, but eventually finds his way to Obo, and now they're going to push onto the A site with the help of the smokes.
Yeah, last couple of rounds has been a real step up from Cirque, and he really is just padding those stats. Nice couple of shots come in once again, though. None of these rounds seemingly over until they're over. None of them broken yet, though. It's always been close. None of them have actually been won. Shazam is the timing here, but Tarek will eventually get the kill. Both players tagged at least a little bit, but Breezy has so much health that he'll go peeking in. Again, though, like, only 50 HP between them in the end, but they still take the round.
Yeah, when we get back into this, I actually want to see how many the rounds that EG have won lately, how many players survived in each round, because I feel like this round was 2, last round was about 2 as well.
Yeah, the round before was 3.
So they're definitely struggling. And I think that's a good adaptation. That's a good idea of what BlameF's bringing to the team. He's been able to read into the way they're playing. Everyone's starting to hit some really big shots. But the problem is, you get these individual plays like Obo taking on Ethan in the beginning, but they're not winning the rounds. And Cirque is just becoming a beast here. 11 kills for him. The Bulgarian Bulldozer has come to play on Mirage. But again, they get the entry, and then it quickly gets turned on as Complexity takedown 2.
Yeah, we finally see the T's actually go for a proper challenge into middle with the majority of their players, and that's been a real point of contest early on for EG. They've been taking this control, Stam pushes through, but there's some support. Shazam's going to be able to stop any further aggression. And the CT side, the thing is, once it starts, it's difficult to stop. Like, you're now a man down, so it's a little bit more understandable that you're going to be looking for these frags. Obo patiently waiting. Should be a free frag, and he's not going to give Breezy even a moment's notice. And Tarek, all he can really do now is wait and hope that they go in his direction. They won't. They've smoked off onto Cat to blind anybody peeking from Connector, and the B site is going to be completely under their control. Now, financially, this is where issues actually start to arise for EG. Sure, you got Cirque able to buy a Tarek. If he saves one, could drop one, and between the other two, they should be able to get enough money to at least get a rifle, but this is a situation that could have very easily been avoided for EG if they just managed to close some of the rounds that they've had a little bit cleaner. Now, will actually be a 5th now on the board for Complexity.
I'm actually curious about your thoughts on this, because I've talked so many times now about how I love to see teams push a middle on the CT side. But it almost feels like EG are doing it a little bit too much, which is something I never thought I'd be saying, right? I never thought I'd actually say that, considering I keep asking for it. But the problem is that, yeah, they're being aggressive, and I love that, but they're being punished for it consistently. Complexity have been able to adapt to that kind of style, and have now started to finally take a round off of it. Yeah, they're able to take quite a few kills in no rounds before. I think that was about 3 straight. But they've adapted, and now we need to see Evil Geniuses do the same. They can't just keep running in with no respect to Complexity.
Well, I think that's the first round I've actually had. Like, there's actually been a problem with it. So I don't really mind EG.
Well, there was a 2-for-2 exchange a couple of rounds back in middle with Ethan pushing. I mean, Complexity didn't win the round, but I'm not sure if a 2-for-2 trade is going to be the most ideal on Mirage.
I think when they still had, like, Cirque able to peek back in, and they ended up keeping the man advantage in the end, I don't think it's so much of a problem. Obo actually going to kick things off once again. However, getting these opening picks hasn't been enough a lot of the time. This time, however, they do have a 2-man advantage. Nade going to go down, actually clear Ethan out, and he's got to be careful because BlameF, he's on that lurk once again. Breezy won't win his duel either. Tarek does manage one with the AWP. In fact, they've got a second back. The problem is this flank coming in. Even with the amount of damage that they're managing to do, BlameF is going to be able to drop the AWP. And this is where the costs really now arise for EG. They were continuously able to get buys, even though they were losing players in a lot of these rounds. But finally, Complexity have been able to punish them. A couple of rounds streak together, and Ethan, well, you know it's bad when you're trying to save a FAMAS.
I think the only thing worse than that would be saving a Galil.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought I was going to make you like puke from that. The disgust of saving a Galil.
I think we did see it yesterday.
Yeah.
It was Stan.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you weren't feeling too good yesterday. So you mentioned after that you were feeling a little under the weather. But Obo, again, credit to this player. Currently only on 9 kills, 10 there as you saw. But again, he opens things up. He punished them for getting aggressive over towards ramp. I think he's almost being unleashed within the team, tying up Shazam for top fragging for the team. And it's nice to see Shazam step it up on the T side, though I still want to see what happens on the CT. Again, not to be too harsh on him, because I still rate him as a fairly good operator, but there were so many missed shots. I could have helped close out the match a little bit earlier on. But Obo on the MAC-10, maybe looking to make some bank. And it's still the style of the lurking, fragging in-game leader. It's so interesting to me to see that, because it's worked out really well for BlameF so far with the Complexity. Thinking back to Dust 2, watching for rotates in towards tunnels. Here we go. Complexity looking to push through towards B. It looks like it will be Rush to lead the charge.
Well, somehow, once again, these pistols are just doing damage. This is why it's just so difficult playing against EG, because at any moment, they could be on an eco and still manage to steal away around the push into what has been their heavier of the stacks sites. Leaves Shazam alone. He's had a decent game so far, but with rifles now being retrieved, Ethan on an AK-47 and the other two players just needing to try and keep this crossfire going. He does actually have the bomb, so didn't even need to really push into this B site and won't even get the kill onto Ethan. A disgusting round from EG. There's not a moment's rest when you're playing up against them, and they're going to win the half based off that round.
And we finally get some woos today. Nice to see some life within the EG side. The victories they did have before were relatively quiet. No one really chanting and cheering for this one. But again, what, they had pistols. Like, they had the bare minimum invested into that round, and yet they're still able to take that. I mean, Oba was prepared. He had the MAC-10. He wanted to use that to build up some bank. But they just couldn't land the shots when it came down to it. And look at this. Evil Geniuses, they rescue so many weapons in that round. They have a double up set up with Cirque and Tarek. We've only seen this out of them so far once. And that round, they ended up losing. But last round of the half. Complexity still have a decent buy. Oh, this is going to be classic. Look at this. There's actually no one to stop him from flanking in yet again. BlameF has done this time and time again. I'm going to assume they're going to head back towards B as he's going to get the information they need to close this out. And still, no one's even checking towards window. It's Ethan now able to look, but obviously he's not going to see anyone anytime soon. They already shot the grate. He's able to push in, spots the first out towards short. He's going to need to spot the player, Tarek, in towards B halls, however. He takes the first kill, now Tarek's going to have to struggle. He has to make the decision of where to hold, and he's going to go for the fight. But he's completely blinded up. Great flashbang out of Shazam yet again. And Complexity get the B site.
Yeah, tough one, and Ethan. He's going to try and rectify the mistakes. He's already going to be falling. Of course, they're going to challenge this one. It's the last round of the half. They might as well throw caution to the wind and try and get themselves back in. Cirque expecting them to be a little bit more aggressive, and BlameF is just around the corner. However, it's whether or not they could even get anywhere near him. Shazam is going to fall, but BlameF very quick on the trade. An 8-7 half, as close as it gets, but once again, I'm going to be interested to see how things actually go for them onto that CT side. We've seen some pretty strong T sides out from this Complexity team so far, but going into the CT side, a lot of the time there's been some more dominating halves against them. They really struggled when it came down to overpass, and I'm wondering if they may struggle when it comes to Mirage.
Like a fire in the eye of a hurricane. Always told, stay in line, be alright, better play it safe. I walk a different path, nothing can hold me back. I've passed the point of no return, something is calling me. It's in the air that I breathe. Bring me back to life again. Let's get it. Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come alive.
Fly so high they can't touch us. So top notch, none above us. We done came so far, now we up now. Had a vision, stuck to it, never back down. Never had much, now we own the whole thing. Spread it all around the world, watch it all change. Came alive, now they all see the greatness. Light shine so hard they can't take it.
Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come to life again. Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come alive.
And we're back with a second half of the first map of the day. Complexity able to take the lead on Mirage from T side. Moving over to the CT side, Stanislav 15-9. Having a damn good game off the get-go, but this is where things are going to become troublesome, I feel like, for Complexity. Their CT side definitely showed some weaknesses yesterday. Tom, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that so far we've definitely seen the T side for them work quite well. I think the lurking of Blame F has been fantastic, and a lot of their CT sides relied on him once again to have some monstrous plays to actually be able to take that map. He's attempting to go for one now, but I think after being spotted by Cirque, he's just gonna fade away. Wow, almost a straight up default being thrown in by EG, just watching every avenue of the map, making sure that there's no chance from aggression for Complexity, although they are gonna go for a little bit more. They've got to be careful. Breezy, just instant one tap. Removes Blame F, and they're going to try and retrieve that wonderful USP. Will have been heard by Shazam, so he at least has a little bit of extra information, but now they're trying to just rotate players to actually stack into middle almost, and that's going to leave the A site very vulnerable. Now Shazam not able to connect his shots, going to make things that little bit worse, and Breezy just owns Oboe, leaves Rush as the lone defender of this site, and they don't even need to plant the bomb. That was clinical from Evil Geniuses.
I don't even know what there is to say about that one. I think a lot of people on Complexity were losing to
I think
duels.
that's what you say. Do you ever do that in school where your teacher would like do a clap and you had to like copy the exact clap? It was like a game.
What?
Clearly my school was weird, but you do like...
what kind of game is that?
I don't know, it's just like, it's like one of those rhythm games that you play where they do something and you have to repeat it back. So that's what I just did with Chet. See?
Wow.
Producer does it too. You're the weird one.
Okay, well, we'll get confirmation on that later on today. We'll ask Stun and Dust if they ever had to clap in Alabama. Evil Genius is able to get 2 kills already in the round. Did see the investment out of Complexity, but it doesn't seem like it, doesn't feel like it. No one on EG's taken a single point of damage. Get a clap. See, they made a game for us, like the multiplication tables, you know? So you would do like, you know, 1 times every number, 2 times every number, etc. And then like every week you would do one of those tests. And like the first 10 people in class that did it correctly all the way through, because obviously if you failed it, you had to like redo it, and the other people would keep going, would get taken for ice cream. Good old Miss Stark.
I'm gonna be honest.
Favorite teacher.
That's not a game.
That is a game.
That's a competition. That's not
It's
a game.
the same thing.
No, because games are meant to be fun.
So what is this? Is this not a game we're watching?
No, but yeah, like that is just math.
That was fun.
You're doing.
I liked math. I liked ice cream.
Yeah, no.
Remember, math plus ice cream plus winning equals Happy Tom.
You're being rewarded for doing math. It's not a game. Like a game, there has to be a function to it. It's just you doing your timetables.
How is clapping your hands fun?
Because it's like a repetition game. The teacher does something and then you copy it. Thus, it's a game. You're just doing math.
But a game has to be enjoyable. That doesn't sound enjoyable.
Neither does math.
When you're getting ice cream for it, it does. But when the reward's worth it.
Yeah, that's the... Okay, whatever.
Well, the reward for this match would be going 2-0.
Yeah, getting yourself closer to going to Denmark for the Pro League Finals, of course.
They have great ice cream there.
Has betrayed Britain. They've rebelled. And, you know, Def has gone down. But, yeah, very clean couple of rounds.
There?
I'm not going to do it every time. It'd be, I think people get quite irritated if I just keep clapping into the microphones. But, yeah, fairly clean rounds coming out from EG, so they're going to be in a very good position starting off on that T side. And as said, this is where I do worry a little bit, especially if Shazam is unable to have like a better performance. I think they're really going to struggle on this CT side, especially with that man doing so well. But he's actually gone down to Shazam, so that's not a bad start whatsoever. Also the tag hit onto Ethan as well. Tarek trying to spray through the smoke, just enough bullets to get the job done. And actually, they've quickly traded this into an advantageous position. Def trying to hide within the smoke. Obo running through is caught out by Tarek. He really does love using every single bullet within the clip. And leaves just two standing. Shazam, who started it all off, and Def, who's been lurking within the site for the majority of the round. Shazam jumping for joy as Tarek puts him down. While Def is going to be caught out in the end. 12-7, EG take further control of this second half, and I think there needs to be more from the CT side if they are going to be able to hold on to this.
Yeah, and that was even with Shazam hitting the first shot. Yeah. The initial kill on a Breezy, but Tarek's like, all right, well, he's down, but I'm still here, and I'm still a threat. Just walked straight through it. I believe he picked up a triple kill. It's very saddening, by the way, talking about Shazam jumping for joy and Tarek putting him down. Oh, man. No, 12-7, Evil Geniuses on a roll. Complexity just with pistols and some armor, but they need to hit these shots. They need to start taking these rounds, and what worries me is this is their pick. Going on to Nuke, you have to wonder, with the 9 days of practice they've had, is that going to be a map that's in their pool? Oh my god, every time!
I'm going to think about that later, Jason. And I think we've got a few more fish to fry on Mirage before we start looking at what's going to be happening on Nuke. Still, as said, a lot of these rounds have been close when pistols have been in the hands of Complexity, but they haven't been able to steal any of them, which is somewhat the point. Eventually, they did manage to break the economy thanks to a lot of these rounds where they were doing damage throughout, but if they could just win one of these force buys, I'm sure it would pump up some of the players, maybe gain a little bit of confidence within this map.
Well,
Shazam, not going to be enough. And while Obo is going to be the last one alive, can't do anything this time with the Deagle. It is going to be a 13th nonetheless for EG, and they do keep 3 players alive, so considering how things started, they do rectify things quite well.
I am a little bit worried though, Tom. If BlameF does get any more pumped up, I don't think they're going to find a shirt that'll fit him.
I think they'll need to get a bigger desk. Luckily, like, Obo sort of balances it out. I think that's why
he has all the extra space.
Yeah, they had to put them two next to each other so that the arms just match up.
Yeah, I like how all the tournament organizers out there have to change their desk, you know, style based off the size, based off of who's actually attending the event. Oh, Complexity's here. Okay, we gotta get bigger desks.
Yeah, we need.
And we need to reinforce them with titanium or adamantium. Let's get Wolverine here. We're gonna see timeout coming for Complexity, and a much needed timeout considering they've let a lot of these rounds slip away. They finished 7 on the half and 5 straight now for Evil Geniuses. Obviously coming into the back yet again. Shazam was successful with the op pick that we saw over towards the A site, but one pick was not enough, as we saw Tarek just decimate any sort of defense. Is this going to be a quick B hit out of Evil Geniuses? They're going to rush straight in towards the site. It's just going to be all on Def to defend as we have the rotate coming out of Obo. But he's going to be pushed out of position here with a nice Molotov.
This is just troublesome already. Kills going the way of this T side. BlameF does at least try to be the hero, and Obo's still remaining. The bomb dropped within the site and not planted just yet, so there's still opportunities here from the CT side. The interesting fact is that Stam was just holding on to rotations. He was looking to see if there's anybody coming around from behind, but unfortunately, Rush seems to be aware of it. He seems to know that there's somebody up there. Oh, doesn't win the duel. It was smart from him to at least realize it, but unfortunately it won't matter in the end. 14-7, continued domination. Well, it's difficult to see how they actually come back from this one. Just so many players performing on the other side. Breezy and Ethan both with 20 kills apiece. Stan and Cirque both on 17, and Tarek was one of the people who won them just a round ago. So this is looking like a much stronger EG today. I can't remember who tweeted it, but somebody on their side said, I think it might have been Tarek, no underestimating opponents today. Well, it definitely looks like that's the case. They are not taking this lightly. Cirque already going to be getting the opening pick and just pushing as a unit, grouping up as what Dust called a death bomb to make their way in towards this site. Rush is going to be getting one, but can't do anything versus Tarek, and Def left to try and clutch this. He was very good yesterday, but this time it's not going to be enough. Now Cirque hits that 20 kills as well, as the trifecta of death starts to continue from this EG side.
obviously with Nuke as the second map. And again, I want to go back to the point I was saying before about how deep is the pool out of complexity with only 9 days of actual practice. Yeah, it might have been 12 hours with 4 hours a day being theory crafting and the rest of the 8 actual scrims. But thinking back to the overpass against Cloud9, it was a 16-6 scoreline. They went 11-4 for Cloud9 in the first half. Nuke's going to be a very difficult map for them to play, I would imagine. Obviously, I don't know exactly what maps they have been practicing, and that's going to be unfortunate for Rush.
Have they even got a round on their CT side? I don't think they have. This was an 8-7 half. Yeah, that's rough. Somewhat what I was worried about, but at the same time, I think that when EG hit their stride, I don't think there's anything any of these teams in the group can do. And they have definitely hit it on this map. Every single player performing, and they've just been ripping complexity a new one. Shazam. Let's get killed. Actually, Def has caught one out as well. Maybe a little bit of hope, at least in this round. It'd be nice to get one round on the board. Obo's still hiding within the site as well. It's
is he gonna? He doesn't see. He doesn't see Tarek.
I don't know if maybe somebody else saw it watching his POV, because it didn't look like he reacted at all. But at the same time, Def then went pushing into the window and watching from behind. So I think somebody must have seen it, which is at least a positive. Now the rotation's coming back into this B site. It's going to leave Obo here alone. There is a quick flank coming in from Def, but the question is he going to be quick enough? He might be able to get Breezy, but Cirque has already made the entry, and now it doesn't really matter so much. I think Breezy's even switched his gaze to watch for the flank, and well, just fantastic play from Evil Geniuses in this T side. Shazam left, 1 versus 3. Mentioned his AWP needing to step up. Well, this would have to be one hell of a clutch with the SG. Does at least manage the first, expecting somewhat of a reaction, but, well, eventually it's the peek back in that ends this map. Pure domination in the second half. 8-round streak coming out from Evil Geniuses, and, well, that's as easy as